Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and hi everyone. I'm teacher Firda from SMK Saint Bernadette Convent, Batu Gajah. In this video, I will share with you the speaking test format and procedure. The learning standard for speaking is able to communicate information, ideas, opinions, and feelings intelligibly on familiar topics, while learning objective is able to understand main ideas in extended text on familiar topics and unfamiliar topics. I hope you will gain some new knowledge and insight from this video. Credit to Malaysian Examinations Syndicate MOE. SPM Speaking 11193 English Paper 3. SPM Speaking Test Overview. The speaking test is taken by all Form 5 students and constitutes 25% of their overall candidate grade. The other papers, that is reading and use of English, listening and writing, also being worth 25% each. The SPM Speaking Test is paired format, that is, two candidates take a test together. There are two examiners present during the test, the interlocutor and the assessor who mark the test in situ. The speaking test has three sections, all aimed at the A2 to C1 CEFR range with a variety of tasks to elicit different types of spoken language. The duration of the test is approximately 13 minutes. SPM Speaking Test Format. The format of the test is designed to put candidates at ease by starting off with more support from the examiner and then moving on to the less control. That is, Part 1. Control, short, individual responses. Part 2. Individual, long turn, with the listening candidate respond question. Part 3. Discussion task, followed by decision question, and then further discussion task. The test is staged so as to allow for different interaction patterns as it progresses. The candidates answer individual everyday questions and then speak individually before a paired interactive discussion activity. The candidates have more scope to improvise as the test progresses. The test has been designed to cover both the productive and interactive aspects of the CEFR. Part 1 Example Questions. In Part 1, you are given the opportunity to offer personal information and to respond appropriately. Part 1 has two phases. The first phase is general introductions and the second is focused on a specific theme. For examples, daily routine. Look at phase 1 main questions. What's your name? Thank you. Where do you live? Where do you come from? How do you come to school? Now, phase 2. I'm going to ask you about your daily routine. Main questions. What do you normally do after you wake up? What do you usually do after coming back from school? How do you spend your leisure time? What do you do on weekends? Sometimes backup prompts are used by the interlocutor when you have no response at all or your response is delayed. She will ask you a question like, should I call you? Do you live in? do you come to school by? In order to help you to feel at ease. Same thing in phase 2. There are also backup forms given by your interlocutor. For example, what is the first thing you do every day? What do you do when you get home from school every day? What do you do when you have free time? What do you do on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? The interlocutor, that is the speaking examiner, will greet you and ask you a few questions during part 1 interview. Speaking examiners are the interlocutor and the assessor. The assessor is the teacher from a nearby school appointed by the assessment and examination sector in the State Education Department, while the interlocutors are teachers who teach in your school. Have a look at SPM Speaking Test Format Part 1. Part 1. The interview. Time allotted 3 to 4 minutes. Task format. Interaction pattern. Interlocutor interviews candidates. Input. Interlocutor frames provide all questions for interlocutor. Candidate output. Discourse features. Responding to questions. Functions. Giving factual information about self, biodata. Talking about present circumstances. Expressing opinions, explaining and giving reasons, talking about future plans, talking about past experience. Moving on to part 2, the individual long term. Here the questions are normally about something that is related to you. For example, you are asked about your routines or things that you would normally do. Look at the example task. A family celebration. Talk about a family celebration you had recently. You should say what the event was, what you did there, did you enjoy yourself, why not, why family celebrations are important in Malaysia. Part 2. Example frame. The interlocutor will give you instruction. You should listen to the instruction carefully. In this part of the test, I'm going to give each of you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it on your own for about a minute. You also need to answer a question briefly about your partner's topic. Candidate A, it's your turn first. Here's your task. The interlocutor will place Part 2 booklet open at task 2A in front of candidate A. I'd like you to talk about a family celebration you had recently. First, you have some time to think about what you're going to say. Candidate A is allowed 20 seconds to prepare. At the end of 20 seconds, the interlocutor will ask you to start. Candidate A is given a minute to respond to the question. At the end of 1 minute, the interlocutor will ask a question to candidate B. What was the last celebration you had? Did you have a good time? Why? Candidate B will have approximately 20 seconds to respond. At the end of 20 seconds, interlocutor will thank you and retrieve Part 2 booklet. SPM Speaking Test Format Part 2. Part 2, Individual Long-Term Tasks. The time allotted is around 3 to 4 minutes. Task format. Interaction pattern. An individual long-term task, 1 minute, with the listening candidate response question, 20 seconds. Input: spoken rubrics, written prompts given in candidate booklet. Candidate output: discourse features, sustaining a long term, managing discourse, coherence or clarity of message, organization of ideas, accuracy and appropriacy of linguistic resources. Function: talking about past, present, future experience, explaining and giving reasons, expressing and justifying opinions, describing people, places, and situations. Candidates are asked to speak for about 1 minute each, but a total of 3 to 4 minutes is allotted to this test part, to include rubric delivery and the listening candidate's brief response, approximately 20 seconds. In part 2, candidates are given the opportunity to impart information, manage discourse, etc. through independent long turns. The procedure: the interlocutor gives an individual task to each candidate in turn. This consists of a set of prompts based on specific theme, example, a person you admire. The candidates are given 20 seconds to prepare before they start speaking. Example of prompt: Candidate A task: talk about a person you admire. You should say who this person is, what this person looks like, why you admire this person. If you think it is important for people to have good role models, why not? Each candidate has a long turn of approximately 1 minute, which is followed by a response of approximately 20 seconds from the listening candidate, that is candidate B, to a question linked to the theme. Example, candidate B: who do you admire? Why? Candidate B should use approximately 20 seconds to respond to this question. I will further elaborate on part 3 example task in my next video. Have a look at the question and example frame.